Welcome back to the Elevate Podcast. We are in Season 2, Episode 7, and this episode is entitled More Than Your Craft, the Skills You Need to Run a Business. This is the show that helps you move from burnout to bliss in life, money, and business. I'm Ebony Clark.
And I'm Reginald Clark, and today we're asking a tough question. Do you have the skills to actually run your business or just the skills to do the work?
Because here's the truth. Being great at your craft does not guarantee success. A master chef can still fail at running a restaurant, and a brilliant trainer can lose clients if they don't know anything about marketing.
That's right.
Your gift gets you in the door, but business skills keep you in business.
On this episode, we'll break down the 5 core skills every entrepreneur needs, share some of our own wins and mistakes, as well as give you practical steps to bridge the gap.
So stick with us. This is one episode you don't want to miss.
It's time to elevate. All right, guys, so as you heard in the introduction, we are back again with another episode of Burnout to Bliss. So excited to be back with you guys, and I'm going to tell y'all something real quick, just right here on the front end. This episode is something that's very near and dear to both of our hearts, and the reason being, it just really does something to me when I see a person go into business with all the excitement, all of the energy, only to see it not work out. So we decided to dedicate an entire episode to helping somebody not go down that path, because I'm telling you, it just breaks my heart every time I see it. A grand opening and then a not so grand closing. So Ebony, go ahead and jump on in there.
So I work with a lot of businesses on a daily basis, and one of the things that I've noticed is that people start businesses because they're good at something, but being good at something doesn't always translate into being able to run a business successfully because it's a completely different set of skills.
That's right. Yeah, because you hear people all the time. I mean, well, the thought process is that if I'm good at making my product, or if I'm good at delivering this particular service, then naturally I'll be good at running a business that does those same things. And one of the things we're going to bring out throughout this particular episode is there's a difference between the skills it takes to do your craft, whatever it is that you're offering, and the skills it takes to run a business that does those same has that same craft as a product or service offering.
Because your family, they'll gas you up. Your family and friends, you may make an amazing French silk pie. And your friends and family, man, you need to go in business making this pie.
Well, I wouldn't say they gassing you up, but they, like, from a negative perspective, I would say they encouraging you.
Yeah, and not from a negative perspective, but not understanding that the business is more than the product or service.
Right. Most people don't understand.
So, and there's always an opportunity for an in-between.
Yeah.
You can just make the pies and as a hobby, but that's completely different from having a structured business.
Absolutely. So, again, today we want to, we got about 58 minutes left, however much time it is. But in this short amount of time, our goal is to save at least one person from going down this road. Not turning your back on going into entrepreneurship, but going down the road of charging ahead, thinking that because you do something well means that you can run a business that does that thing well. So, for instance, let me give you some examples. Ebony just gave an example about a chef. Maybe they're great at recipes, or she chose a bakery, but do you know about food costs? Have you learned about staffing? Do you know about licensing?
Exactly.
Things like that.
Even with the fitness trainer, you may be good at workouts or even creating workouts for other people, but you struggle with client acquisition and retention.
Absolutely. So let's take real estate agents. I know a ton of real estate agents. Maybe you're great at sales. You say, you know what, I'm going to open up my own agency. Okay, but have you learned CRM systems? Have you learned, how to conflict negotiations with different agents, back office processes, pipelines, CRMs, all that kind of stuff?
And we'll take a look into my world. You may be great at tax prep, but can you also market your services? Can you manage staff? Can you track the money that's come in? So all of those things are required in order to run a business. And
not only are they required, so I want to slow down just a little bit here. Not only are they required, the word you're going to hear us talk about a lot is skills. These are skills. It's not talent. All right, there's a difference. Gifts. These are things just given to you, by God, and you can improve on them with practice. But we're talking about skills, something that you can learn, something you had no knowledge of, but now you can, through some sort of a process, you can learn it and you can improve upon it. All right, so listen to me carefully. You need to learn business skills if you're going to run a business. And again, for the sake of repetition, just so you can get it, because I can paint houses real good does not mean I need to go into business as a painter. All right, painting a house, different skill set. You got to be good at that. Running a business. See, and I want to say one more thing too. Mm-hmm. Once you learn business skills, those skills are pretty much transferable across any business, just about. But the technical part, the crafting part of it, now that's not transferable.
Correct.
Because I'm a contractor doesn't mean that I can all of a sudden start doing heart surgery. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
However, the skills to run both of those businesses, those business skills, a lot of that's going to be transferable.
And I want you all to think about it from a different perspective. Think about what your actual profession is. So whether you're in corporate America or like a major corporation or work for a small business or even your own actual business, think about your actual profession. It is within a specific scope. Mm-hmm. So if someone is at International Paper, they don't have a role in every department at International Paper. Right. And so that same concept is true, but on a smaller scale when you're starting your own business.
Right.
All of those various things have to be done. You can't just be single-faceted. You have to be multifaceted.
Absolutely. This is the time period, guys. When you start a business, there's a time period you go through that I call that first 1 to 2, sometimes 3 years. That's the burnout phase. Mm-hmm. All right. And what's typically being burnt out, one, money, a lot of money. Money's typically going out the door. Usually there's more money going out than coming in. And two, your energy level, you're burning through your frustrations, you're burning through your patience, mainly because most people haven't took time to learn the skills prior to. And I'm going to tell you, here's another thing, it is what it is. Some of these are just going to be on-the-job training. Mm-hmm. Some of them you can't learn in advance. But others you can learn in advance, and you need to have a real talk with yourself. Do you have what it takes, but do you want to go through what it takes in order to make this business work? Because
and I think the key is recognizing that there are all of these different roles. Even if you're the person doing them, mm-hmm. you have to know that these are different roles inside of the business.
Absolutely.
You don't get to just come to work and paint houses and have a business.
Right.
Because there's so many other things that need to get done. And I know we've told the story on the podcast before, but when Reggie and I first started out and it was just us two in our business, we still did an org chart.
Yeah.
And so we listed all of them.
You're going to tell them what an org chart is?
Okay, I will.
Yeah.
So an organizational chart is the different roles inside of your business. So it may be HR director, it may be manager of sales, it may be IT support, maybe customer service. So all of these go on a chart, and we basically put every role that's needed inside of our business. But at the time, it was just me and him. So guess whose names were in all of the boxes? Either me or him.
That's right.
But it was clear, so we knew who would handle which role until we got to a point where we could take our name out and put one of our employees' names in.
Right.
And that happens over time. But the key was still knowing that there are separate roles and responsibilities inside of a business. And
I remember, and I think it was you, Eb, that suggested we do that, or maybe one of the books we read, I can't remember. But it made it so much better and it gave me a goal, because my goal became, all right, I want to get my name off as many of these boxes as I can.
Right.
Because they were about to wear me out. But I had something specific to shoot for, like, okay, who's going to be our lead in-house underwriter? Okay, I need to get my name out. Right now it's me. Mm-hmm. I get app submitted. I'm also working on underwriting. That's something I need to get off to somebody else. But having that organizational chart, people call it org chart for short, that's something that you need right off the bat. Okay, but in the next segment of today's episode, I'm going to start it out with talking about the number one skill that every business has to have, every entrepreneur has to have. I'm trying to curb my enthusiasm right now to even hold it till we get there. But before we do that, I want to just talk real quickly about our own experience and what we were able to the technical skills we started with and what we were forced to learn early on.
Before we get that, I don't want to gloss over when you were saying people burning through money, the burnout phase and burning through money. So even if you start your business with some type of capital infusion, so you have money set aside, which is ideal, which is 100% ideal, you still want to be careful about how much money you're spending and over what time period. It's a lot of excitement that goes into a new business, but you don't have to have everything exactly how you want it on day one. You can grow with it. Do it in phases. So you may have an office and you have all these ideas that you've seen on HGTV of how you want your office to be. Make it nice, but let's let the business dictate when you're able to upgrade and do phase 2 and phase 3, because you don't want to sink all this money in it and it's not even a viable business. You don't, and that's something, and that's not a slight to anybody or any business. Some things you don't know until you get into it.
That's right. And and I'm going to say this, there's again, a real hard conversation you got to have with yourself even before you get to that point. Even before you start spending money on an office, you start spending money on anything. I'm going to tell y'all, and again, I'm going to hold that to segment 2 of this when we come back. We're not breaking for the break now, but when we come back, I'm going to talk about that. The conversation you got to have with yourself before you spend $1, period. All right, we're going to talk about that. So, but anyway, let's talk about the skills that we brought to the table. So when I look back on Ebony and I's journey, and just so people know, we're in year, what's this, 20, well, the business started in 2002.
So 23 years.
23 years. Our 23-year journey of making ends meet by running our own business. When I look back on it, the main technical skill that I had back then was sales.
Okay.
That was the main skill I had. And I would tell you, and I'm very, very proud to share it with you, and my mother can tell you, I was not a person that was naturally gifted at talking to people, large groups of people, one-on-one. That just wasn't my thing. I did not like it. However, what I am proud to share, I don't shy away from it, I learned those skills in multi-level marketing. Got involved in multi-level marketing back in 1996. Me and my friend DeJuan, we did some pretty awesome things back then. But I had no idea. We were just chasing money, having fun, just living the life, man. Fresh out of college, just having a ball. Had no idea that was a training ground for the rest of my life.
Wow.
So when I came into the financial planning space, that skill I brought with me. So, creating presentations and closing and selling, do all that, man, I had no issue with that. And that's the one skill I had, and it set me up for everything else.
Wow, that's great. So for me, it's operations. In my past roles in corporate America, I was an auditor and an analyst, but my roles also included me making process documents. So processes and systems are very important to me. So I was able to bring that skill set to our company so that a lot of the things that need to get done within a business that for some may be haphazard or just off the cuff, we had documented steps for these things to help make the business run smoothly. And then also look for opportunities to make it even more smooth. I remember,
here's something funny. I remember when we did get to the place of when we, could bring on our first staff person. Y'all got to understand, I really didn't spend any time really in corporate America. I had went from jobs in college to internship to network marketing to boom, here I am. So I didn't know nothing about HR, what you can say, what you couldn't say. Ebony knew all that stuff.
Yeah, he asked the person in the interview how old they were. I was like, you cannot ask that question.
I thought I needed to know the answer to that question, so I asked.
So he stopped being in the interviews.
Yeah, so I even to this day, I really don't like being in there. I still don't know much about it because I focus on other things. So, but yeah, man, like I said, we brought our collective experiences to the table, and it was a good mesh, and it continues to work to this day. But again, there are some skills you're going to have to either have already or be willing to obtain very quickly, and you're going to always have to sharpen those skills, all right? And there's not going to be any way around this, y'all.
And lean on other people. So even if you are a solopreneur and you're doing this business by yourself, you have someone within your network that has skills in these areas that you may need help in. So if they love you, they won't mind helping out, or at least telling you what to do or how to gain the skills.
No, they won't. So just as I'm again continuing to frame out this episode, we talk about skills like different things like strategic thinking, decision making. We're going to be talking about some of these. Some of the financial skills, the operational stuff, the financial literacy that you're going to need, resource management, project management. These are all skills that it takes to run a business. Marketing and sales, people and communication. We're going to be talking about this here again in just a few minutes, but just understand the main thing I want to get out right now is that, guys, please hear me. If you don't think about these things, do I have the skill set? What skill sets are needed to operate a business? Stop thinking about the cookie and how good the cookies are. How can I make the recipe better? Yeah, forget all that. That's like focus on, can you make a better hamburger than McDonald's? Yes, you probably can. But can you sell more hamburgers than McDonald's?
Exactly.
Probably, it's going to take some real skills, processes, and systems to be able to do that. Oftentimes, we focusing on the wrong thing, all right? It's not who, I tell people this all the time, it's not who can do it the best, it's who can sell it the best.
That's true.
All right, so we're going to dig more into that when we, go ahead.
And I want to leave you all with one quote. Your craft makes you valuable, but your business skills make you viable.
Oh, say that one more time.
Your craft makes you valuable, but your business skills make you viable.
I like that. Let's dig more into that when we come back after the break. Y'all stick with us through this. We'll be right back. Remember, it's time to elevate.
Hey, Elevate fam. Are you a business or brand looking to get in front of an audience that's all about leveling up in life, business, and mindset? Then let's partner up. The Elevate podcast is now accepting sponsors. That means you can get your brand heard by a growing community of go-getters, creatives, and purpose-driven listeners right here on the show. Whether it's a product shout-out, an ad spot, or a custom collaboration, we've got options for you. Want in? Hit us up at elevatenowtraining.com. Let's elevate together. So, Reggie, before the break, you mentioned that there was one conversation that people need to have before they start the business.
Absolutely right. So, guys, listen, before you get a website, before you do an LLC, before you do picking out, office space or warehouse space or whatever it is you're doing, ask yourself this one question. Am I willing to be the lead salesperson for this business? If you're not, some people, I don't like selling, I don't want to sell, I'm going to hire. No, If you're not going to be the number one salesman, I should say salesperson, for your business, then don't go into business.
Do not.
Pure and simple, all right? Don't go into business thinking that you're gonna hire somebody else to do the selling for you day one.
And sales have to happen. Nothing happens until somebody sells something.
Nothing. I don't give a doggone what kind of company it is, law firms, dental practices, doctor offices, schools, even right now, schools. I'm talking about high schools. Public schools are competing for the best students. That's sales. And I know this because our daughters get communication from other districts saying, hey, we can waive the requirements and they can come over here.
Right.
Am I telling the truth?
You're telling the truth.
That's what I'm saying. So listen, if you're not willing to sell, if you're not willing to be the lead salesperson, don't go into business because you're going to burn through your money, your time, and your energy.
So tell me, what does that look like? I know sales is a very broad category.
It's a very broad category.
Kind of break down what people actually need to do.
So I'm going to talk about real quickly what they don't need to do. Don't equate sales with putting an open sign on your door. Okay. Like, I'm open for business, and the line of people just going to show up. You wish, right? I don't care how good, again, those cookies are. I don't care how good, your widget is. I don't care. Somebody still got to get out and present this business to other people. And also, don't confuse sales with marketing.
Okay.
Sales are a part of the marketing process. but marketing and promotion, dropping Facebook ads and social media ads, even commercials, radio, TV, whatever it is, these are all part of branding and marketing. It's still not bare bone, white knuckle sales.
Okay. So give me a business. Cookies. We'll go with cookies.
Okay, go with the cookie
business. I'm opening a cookie business. Mm-hmm. I'm not skilled. Like, I don't have a background in sales. What's step one? Like, what do I need to do?
Who you selling the cookies to?
Consumers.
I'm saying general public?
General public, like not wholesale.
Okay.
End users.
So you're selling the cookies to the general public. There needs to. So are we? Is it neighborhood based? We on Germantown Parkway? Where are we?
Germantown Parkway.
Germantown Parkway. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna get a couple of dozen of samples, and we're gonna visit some businesses up and down Germantown Parkway, letting people, we in their face, giving out samples, saying, hey, yeah, not only are we open, try these right here. Mm-hmm. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We're gonna go to a church on a Wednesday night. See 100 cars in the parking lot. We taking samples. We in their face. Mm-hmm. We're not waiting for them to come. And if you so scared of rejection that I don't want to do that, don't go into business.
Mm-hmm. And technology is good. Technology is great, but technology cannot replace human interaction.
It never will. It never will.
That's why companies still have salespeople. If a company could just do it through AI. Yeah, they may have a sales channel using technology. It doesn't involve human interaction. But if they could do it 100%, they would. They don't because they can't.
They can't.
So you can set up technology and other things to support your sales mission, but it cannot all be done online.
No, it's like Eb said, it just supports the human effort, because there will never be anything that can replace human connectivity. Mm-hmm. I don't care what advances they make. I love these movies. I love sci-fi movies. That's my thing. That's my genre. But I'm telling you, there will never be anything that will replace two people talking to each other. Mm-hmm. Even major corporations, Fortune 500, Fortune 100 corporations, when they do business with each other, at the end of the day, there's a person at this business doing business with a person at that business. Mm-hmm. They just represent their respective companies. Mm-hmm. People do business with people. All right.
So
somebody's selling something.
Somebody is selling something. So back to the cookies, or back to your marketing efforts. One, you have at some point you just have to go get it, and whatever that looks like. And if strategy A doesn't work, try strategy B. Strategy B doesn't work, try strategy 21. Like, it doesn't even have to be logical. It's just seeing what works, what brings sales in. But I know there are also some skills like I've heard you mention storytelling selling.
Absolutely. What storytelling does, so even Jesus sold his brand of religion through the telling of stories that we call parables. Mm-hmm. The way our brains are wired, we remember stories. Mm-hmm. Story time. What do kids want to hear at the end of the night? A story.
Bedtime story.
Bedtime story. We love story. Nursery rhyme you heard at 4 years old, you can still recite it today because it was a story. When you facts tell, remember this, I'm going to give y'all 3 things on selling in this time I have. Facts tell, stories sell. All right? So oftentimes when you're talking to somebody about maybe you're selling a house or you're selling a car or something like that, you start running down all these different facts. It can go this to that, 0 to 60. And man, nobody cares about all that. What they care about, tell the story of how your last customer bought it, and he and his wife, went out to California, dropped the top, and drove up down the beach, and the way they feel. You know what I'm saying? Tell a story. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing I'm going to tell you. If you're trying to sell something, trying to sell those cookies, tell a story about how good it reminds you of Grandma's house and what you did at Grandma's house and how you played and ate the Bluebell ice cream and you did all, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Evoke a feeling, because that's the second thing I'm going to give you. Selling is simply the transfer of emotions. It's not logic. People don't buy stuff based on logic.
Yeah.
People buy stuff based on how they feel. Now, you may say, well, I pay my light bill because I know that's logic. Yeah, no, you basically because you don't want to feel cold.
Right.
And you don't want to feel hot in the summer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
People make purchasing decisions based on how, and the bigger the decision, the less logic actually comes into play. Because all the time somebody presenting something to you, say, you know what, that just don't feel right. That's an emotion. Mm-hmm. So one, I give you, use storytelling. 2, transfer the emotion, the excitement of whatever it is you have that you're excited about. Because if you're not excited about your product or service, no one else is going to be. Transfer that over to let them know the feeling of the outcome. And the third thing, you about to say something?
I was, but you can go ahead. I'll follow it up.
Okay. And the third thing I'm going to give you on selling in the time I have is that, remember this KTL, people have to know you, they got to trust you, and they got to like you. All right? Mm-hmm. So those 3 things, use storytelling in your selling, transfer your emotions. Remember, they buy based on feeling, they based on feeling, not facts. And remember, they have to know, trust, and like you. Go ahead.
So to that point, I sometimes see people confuse selling with branding.
Right.
So it's great to have all of these. Everywhere you look, you see your company, the logos and the social media presence and the billboards. Mm-hmm. At some point, all of that is branding. It's getting other people familiar with your company.
Right.
At some point, you got to ask for the sale. And I see so many times a business will have a presence, but they never ask for the sale. So I know what your logo looks like, but I actually don't know what you do because you've never said, come to me for this.
So what the branding does, it helps you with the third thing I gave you. It helps people know you, mm-hmm. trust you, and like you. Mm-hmm. That's all the branding is for. That's what the marketing is for. But again, that in and of it, it's a part of sales. But like you just said, it doesn't do the selling for you. You have to ask for the business.
You need a call to action.
You got to have a call to action. All right, so I hope I got that, kind of got that off my chest. But again, I see y'all. Slightly. Yeah, people starting businesses and then they don't want to sell for them. It really don't make sense to me. But after somebody's selling, you're selling, we got revenue coming in. Now we can focus on some more of these other business skills that you need. And what's some of the other business skills that people need to be cognizant of?
So another one is financial management. And before I get into that, I do want to say if you feel the passion coming through, it is because we are both very passionate about our own business as well as seeing other people's businesses succeed.
That's
so no slight, don't get in your feelings. We're trying to tell you now what to do.
No, go on, get in your feelings. Get in your feelings, and then when you get out of them, I'm telling you the truth.
For me, one of my hot buttons when it comes to financial management and someone selling a product or service is not pricing their product or service properly.
Right.
A lot of times we will just pull a number out of our head about how much you think it should cost, without any consideration to how much it actually costs you to make.
Right.
Or your time. So you got to, even when you're making a product, you have to include your time, because at some point you want to take yourself out of that labor equation and put someone else in. So a lot of times I really see people price their products. We're going to go with the cookies. I like using the same thing. I'm going to price my cookies the same as Subway. Subway has a couple of different things going on. One, it's a corporation, so they have bulk pricing that you don't have because you're going to Walmart to get your products retail, and then they may not be using the same products. So if you need to price your product, you can Google pricing sheets and actually come up with, it's the formula for how you should price your products. Another thing is understanding how profits work. A business has revenue, expenses, and profits. And to make it simple, revenue is what comes in, the money that comes in, expenses go out, and profit is what's left.
Right.
The profit number is what matters.
Right.
It doesn't matter. And the number of zeros behind it don't matter. If you have 5 coming in, 3 going out, your profit is 2. That can be $50. That can be $50 million. And your goal is to make that number, the profit number, go up.
And so the idea here is that you just have to learn financial management skills. Again, and this is something that's easier you need to have a working knowledge of it yourself before you bring somebody on. But you definitely want to be intricately involved with this until you know that person or those people have the wherewithal to watch that with the same level of intensity that you would watch.
Correct.
You don't need to just turn that over to somebody else. All right. So we got marketing and sales skills. We said we're going to give you 5. We got financial management skills. Eb, I want you to talk about operations skills and systems.
Operations and systems. So this is very important to me. you should know each process within your business. You should know how it flows. And it doesn't have to be anything complicated. It can be steps written on a piece of paper. But if you have working with a client, you should know what step 1, 2, 3 is. Nothing should be haphazard. And nowadays, again, with access to YouTube and Google, you can find operations manuals. You can find standard operating procedures. So if you hear someone say a SOP, but it's important that you can predict the flow of your business and predict the steps needed to complete whatever task it is. And then that also allows you to evaluate it. Okay, this process took twice as long as I thought it would. Let's go back and look at the process to see what can be eliminated in that process to make it more efficient. Also, use tools. Use a client relationship manager. Instead of using sticky notes and having sticky notes placed everywhere, have some type of system where you can put notes in a system for the client, and then that way other people in your business can access those same notes.
I want to go back for a second, though, on process. Now, this is something that I had to learn. When you talk about having a process in your business, it's all type of processes. Mm-hmm. So there'll be processes in your sales approach, what we talked about earlier. There'll be processes for the financial man. There'll be processes all throughout the business. Mm-hmm. But you have to develop these processes, or if not, everything is going to be real helter-skelter, just kind of all over the place.
There won't be anything consistent.
It won't be, and you can't transfer to your team, which I hope you're ultimately going to build. You can't transfer that over. You can't transfer it just what's in your head. It got to be on paper, mm-hmm. all right? And because if not, it's just everything's gonna always flow through you, which is gonna greatly hinder your growth capability.
And a simple way to think of it is like a recipe for your business.
Yeah, mm-hmm. right. You need systems and processes. So y'all, we was hoping to give you all 5 of these in this segment. We're gonna have to flow over a little bit to the 3rd segment, but stay with us. We'll be right back in just a little bit. Remember, it's time to elevate.
Today's episode is sponsored by P3 Financial Group, where we enrich the lives of our clients by helping them plan, protect, and prosper. Call P3 for all your tax and financial planning needs at 901-209-4015. That's 901-209-4015.
Hey, Elevate fam. Are you a business or brand looking to get in front of an audience that's all about leveling up in life, business, and mindset? Then let's partner up. The Elevate podcast is now accepting sponsors. That means you can get your brand heard by a growing community of go-getters, creatives, and purpose-driven listeners right here on the show. Whether it's a product shout-out, an ad spot, or a custom collaboration, we've got options for you. Want in? Hit us up at elevatenowtraining.com. Let's elevate together.
And we are back. So, guys, we are in our 3rd segment of this particular episode, Elevate Burnout to Bliss. Today we're talking about, having the business skills that it takes to actually run your business, mm-hmm. all right? And again, just for, clarification, I'm Reginald Clark, and Ebony's here with us, as always, in the studio. But we left the conversation off by talking about the importance of processes and learning the skills of processing in your business, all right? And there was one thing that Ebony mentioned in the break that she wanted to talk about that we missed the last time.
So one of the things I want to talk about is process automation. I know that it can be overwhelming starting a business, especially when you're looking at that org chart and your name is on all of the spaces. So it's really important to be efficient. And some of the ways that can happen is finding automated processes, mm-hmm. so that everything is not done manually. If you know that after a sale occurs, you need to send an email to a customer, you can sit down and do that manually, or you can have some type of automation that will do it for you. That's and right. That'll free you up to be able to focus on other things, because you do not want to get bogged down, mm-hmm. And not get to the important stuff, which is sales.
Right. And today, automation is easier today than it's ever been.
It is.
And it's getting mm-hmm. easier. I'm sure 10 years from now it'll be even easier. So, yeah. But I agree. You got to automate whatever processes you have. Remember this, guys. Systems save sanity. All right. And the lack of systems creates sanity. I mean, insanity, rather.
Correct.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I agree with that. Now, one thing about processes, and definitely the automation part that you mentioned, this is what helps to transition you from a solopreneur to building out a team.
Right.
And again, if you got the resources, you may start day one with a team, and that's great. But you still got to lead and develop that team.
You do. Even if you start with the team, you still have to know every position before you can teach that and transfer that to someone else.
Right. So this is another skill set. And just to recap, we've given you 3. That is sales and marketing. We talked about that. Financial management. We talked about operation and systems. Now we're talking a little bit about leadership and people skills. You have to be able, again, to develop out this team. You got to be able to figure out, this is a skill set. Part of what makes each team member tick. What type of motivation do they respond to? Is it some people may respond to a little more money. Some people may respond to a better title. Some people may, work better kind of in their own silo. Other people need the collaboration effect. So
some people may just want the kudos. They want to know I'm doing a good job.
That they appreciate it. That's right. So again, these are skills I think they would call them, soft skills. These are skills you have to develop if you're going to be a successful business owner.
And before that, you have to hire
people.
So you have to be somewhat familiar with HR policies and procedures to hire a person and then delegate. So why would you hire someone and then you're still doing everything yourself?
Right.
So you have to be willing to take some of the things off of your plate and trust someone else with them, or else you shouldn't have hired them.
That's right. And then after you hire them, then you got to step back and avoid micromanagement.
Yes.
No one likes to be fair. I can't see. I've never talked to someone and said, I love being micromanaged.
No.
I've never experienced that. So that's a skill as well, because especially if you've developed a level of success from being a solopreneur, it's going to be very hard to turn over. And I'm going to talk about it in just a second, something that I had to learn the hard way. But it's going to be hard to, delegate and not micromanage and let people do what it is you've trained them to do.
Because you're going to say, oh, she doesn't do it like me. No one is going to.
That's right. That's exactly right. The question is not whether or not they do it just like you. The question is, do they do it good enough to fulfill what the customer, the client is looking for. And
hopefully with a good hire, they'll do it better than you over time, because they can focus solely on that.
That's right. That's right.
And also, when you think about leadership and building a team and people skills, you have to consider what type of culture you want for your company.
Yeah, that's true.
Each organization, each company has a culture, and you get to develop that. That's one of the great things about having a business.
And the fifth business skill we're going to give you today is strategic thinking. That's just the ability to look beyond today, set a goal, and adapt to changing and things like this. But I'm going to add to that. Not only setting goals for the business, everybody on your team, everybody in your company should know what the goals are. Right? Now, it doesn't mean you don't have some goals that they're not aware of. That's separate. But I'm talking about the corporate goals. They should be able to easily articulate, well, this is what we're trying to make happen in the next 12 months, in the next 3 years, right? So you have to cast that vision. Then you have to be skilled enough at getting them excited about the goal. You got to be able to do that.
I want to ask you a question. What is one skill that we've talked about that you've learned the hard way as we've been growing and nurturing this business?
Oh, I don't even have to think long about that. It's delegation for me. Again, because I was in business for a long time by myself, it was just me. Eb helped out from day one when she got off work, but bringing someone on and then teaching them how to do something and then stepping back and letting them do it, delegate it without it having to flow up through me, that was very, very difficult for me. But now I'm on the other end of the spectrum. Now I don't want to know everything that goes on. I trust my team. Y'all get it done. Only bother me if you have to. That's where I am now. So I have mastered that skill.
Wow. Okay. For me, it was collaboration. So all of my previous roles, I pretty much worked alone, and I had a deliverable, and I got the assignment. I had the deliverable, and it didn't require a whole lot of meetings or communication in between. So that was the difficult part for me, making sure that the team members and clients and other people that I worked with knew that I'm working on it.
Yeah, yeah.
In my head, I was focused on the end, the deliverable. Yeah.
that's a good segue to where I want to take the conversation next, and that is now, we've talked to people about, hey, day one getting started, you're strong enough now, you're building out a team. So now let's talk a little bit about, in the time period that we have left, let's talk a little bit about mindset shift, and that is when you do have a team. So let me explain something for you. When you finally get you a team and things are hitting on all cylinders, or most cylinders, this is where you have an opportunity to start working on the business as opposed to all the time working in the business. This is what Ebony was talking about earlier, being able to take your name off a lot of those boxes in your org chart. All right? You have to get to this place if you're going to experience the next level of growth. Because
somebody still has to drive the ship.
Yes.
And that happens by taking a step back and, like you said, working on the business, figuring out how the business can grow. What are the next goals? What are the next strategies for the business?
That's right. Because as the entrepreneur, you're the technician, you're the lead technician, you're the CEO. And that's another thing, too. People, I'm the CEO. Well, keep in mind, the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, means you're the top employee. That's really what that means, all right? So it's no grandiose titles or anything along with that other than you're just a head employee. But again, you still need to be able to have a global view of everything. Well, you can't do that if you're still down in the weeds, all right? And if you hadn't trained that team strong enough where you come up out the weeds a little bit, you're never going to be able to see the company from the top down.
And something just came to my mind. I'm going to challenge that. When you're a solopreneur, or it may be you and a couple of other people, you are not the CEO. You are whatever your daily role and responsibility is.
Yeah, that's true.
A true CEO has the C-suite. They have the chief marketing officer, operations officer, and they manage those people to make sure that the overall top-level goals of the business, they're meeting those goals. But you're not the CEO if you're the salesperson.
Right.
Because that's what you do on a daily basis, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everything requires growth. So just be true to yourself and be true to your... If it's just you really don't need CEO as your title on your email signature.
You don't. For a long time, and most of the times, even now, when I'm introducing people, I tell I'm the sales manager or something like that, because all that stuff don't really matter, man. And I typically say I'm the sales manager because I want to keep my eyes on what's most important, driving revenue to my firm. That's pretty much it. But now let's talk about unless you had something else right there.
I'm probably going to talk about the same thing. How do people get these skills?
Well, I would say, actually there's multiple ways, but I'm going to tell you what really ramped up our learning was starting to dig into the right books. I graduated with a degree, University of Memphis, in finance, but it did not give me an overall scope of how to operate a business. All right? But some of these books, I'm going to share, I think I got 3 titles. The first one I would say you need to read, man, again, before you sign a contract, before you even fill out LLC paperwork, is the E-Myth.
Yes.
Please read the E-Myth.
That is an excellent book.
Yes, I don't have the author's name written down, but I know the E stands for entrepreneur. But read the E-Myth. It does a great job in explaining how everything we've talked about today, just recognizing the different skill sets needed for the business and for what it is the business actually does. Another one I remember us reading was Built to Sell. That was good.
That was a good one.
And what I recall from that book was the author was telling you from day one, build the business where it can later be sold, even if that's not your plan. Because what you end up doing is structuring the business in such a way that it doesn't require you to be there to make it go.
Exactly.
Because not many people are going to buy a business and they have to, you the only person that's making it.
They have to hire you.
Yeah, they got to hire you. They're not going to do. People are not going to buy. If your business 100% or 95% depends on you, that's not a marketable business. It's just not. It's just not.
Another one, I actually have it here with me. It's called "Get Your Business to Work" by George Headley. And it says this book will help any business owner avoid the many mistakes they make most as they grow. And somebody said, I wish I had read it before I found it and built my $100 million company. So these are practical steps from day one on how to get your business to work. It was an excellent book.
I remember that book. It was a great book. Also, mentors. Talk to people. Find someone who's willing to share, pour into you, who have already done it. right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, be careful of talking to people that's always saying, well, you need to do da-da-da-da-da. Did they walk that path? Because people can always tell you how to go swim.
Right.
And then turns out they never even been in the deep end of the pool. You know?
Mm-hmm. And there's the difference between theory and practice.
You better believe it is.
You need to talk to somebody who can tell you what they've done in practice, not in theory.
And so that's right. So I'm going to say something here. And again, if it ruffles feathers, that's what it's designed to do. I am cautious. I'm really leery about getting a degree from a university in entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. I'm not telling you not to do it, but what I am telling you is, it's certain things that a degree just can't teach you, mm-hmm. right? Now, a degree can definitely go deeper into all the stuff we're talking about in these 60 minutes. We're talking about it. But when it comes to walking this particular path in life, you have to learn from people who've done it. Mm-hmm. You just got to, man.
Mm-hmm. And there is a place for formal training classes and certifications.
It definitely is.
But usually those are specific.
Yes.
So if I need help in marketing, I can take a marketing specific class for businesses. And don't be afraid to invest in your business. Not all of the information that you need to gain these skills will be free. You're going to have to put some actual dollars into growing your skill set. I
would say you need to work on you in all these areas that we're talking about and more, 3-5 times more than you're working on perfecting the product or service that it is you're offering. Because I'm telling you, if you develop these skills, then it takes a whole lot less pressure off the product to sell itself. Because products, really, people, it sells itself. That's not true, man. I don't care what it is. That's just not true.
And one other, don't be afraid to outsource. One of our mentors, unfortunately, he passed away, Melvin Jones, he always told us, hire someone who has a proven track record of doing exactly what you need done.
I remember he said that.
Find that person. If you need a social media person, it doesn't need to be an altar call for somebody who got a Facebook page. It needs to be someone who has a proven track record of being able to convert customers on social media.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things you want to do, I remember Melvin told us that, man, that's always stayed with me, is you would need to write a list down of everything in your business that you like, that has to get done. Mm-hmm. Then categorize it. Things that you like to do, things that you hate doing, and things that you kind of like doing. That will help you identify, in addition to your org chart, the positions and things you need to fill the quickest.
Exactly.
Maybe you don't like the selling part of it, but you have to do it. You know you got to do it. Well, eventually it's okay to bring somebody on that's good at that loves that can take some of the pressure off of you doing it. Mm-hmm. Or the financial piece. Hiring the right people to do that part of it, the financial management part of it. But again, if you want to grow, you want it to be bigger than you, then you're going to have to develop this around you.
That's true. But also realize that this is your baby.
Yes,
so no one is going to care for your baby like you will.
Yes.
So just always remember that.
You know what? There's other things we want to talk about, but I want to close on that piece right there. Eb just mentioned this business that you want to start is your baby. Truer words have never been spoken. Just like a human being coming into this world, somebody has to give heart and soul and life to this business. All right, you cannot hire somebody to do that for you. All right, you have to be the person that's going to be boots on the ground, that's going to be, right in the middle of it, day in, day out, breathing life into this thing, man. And I'm telling you, and you can't expect anybody to care more for this business than you do, at least initially.
Exactly.
If you want to build something that's gonna grow up, just kind of like a baby. Babies need all the nurturing in the world, but eventually, the older they get, the less nurturing they need. Then they start to just need guidance, right? That's how your business can go. But again, if you're not willing to do that, save yourself the time, the money, and the effort, and just do something different. Just like Eb said, just make it a hobby. Just make it a hobby.
All right. Well, I cannot believe how fast this episode has gone by, and it's so many things we didn't get to, but maybe that sets us up for another episode of part 2. Anyway, this has been Ebony and Reggie, the Elevate Podcast, from Burnout to Bliss, and we will see you next week.
All right, guys. Remember, join us again next week. Remember, it's time to elevate.